weekends, man.
I know. What a great way to start off the day.
Yeah, it's like, why is it so harsh?
Yeah, those oils, they can be a little abrasive.
I gotta say, I could smoke 2 or 3 joints and be okay, but the vape pen.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
Because it's cold and wet outside, and my kids, my kids are up my ass about it. They're like, "Why does it smell like weed? Why does it smell like weed?"
A dog walker has to actually imply walking the dog.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I can't keep going out to take out recycling in the middle of the winter, and there's no recycling to take out. Which is our code.
That's funny. So how are your kids with you? I mean, are they on you?
They don't know, but like Chloe's constantly like, "Oh, did you guys smoke something?"
Oh my God, that's funny.
And I'm like, just back off. Just leave me alone. I smoke because of you.
Yeah, so it's funny having a high schooler because everything's fair game now, right? Like there's nothing that's like out of bounds. And so that took me a minute to kind of get used to because, you're used to having a kid who basically is doing kid stuff. And then all of a sudden they're at parties where they're like, I looked at my son's text and it's like, there's going to be Nick and alcohol.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right, well, I guess that's happening now. So
yeah, I mean, you can't stop it. My
oh no, I'm not trying to stop it.
It's gonna happen,
Yeah, no, not at all trying to stop it. But I will say, I try to have conversations with my kids around stuff when I start noticing that they're making decisions to go to parties with nicotine and booze. Like that means like you could also go the other way, right? Like you can also choose to eat more vegetables. You could also choose to, do this, that, and the other. And so what I've started to try to pepper in, and I got to give my kids credit here because I don't always make it easy with how intense I follow some of this stuff, right? But man, when you're just honest with other human beings, forget about anybody, but my kids in particular, and you just lay it out there. You're like, hey, this is a thing, and here's what to expect when you do it, and here's why I do these other things, and like they see all my supplements and stuff, and they're asking questions now. They're like, well, what's this one do? Why are you taking that one? What's this? So I don't know. It's a good opportunity to kind of try to pass on some maybe better
knowledge with it.
Yeah, better knowledge. Yeah, I mean, I wish to God somebody would have been onto these tracks when I was a kid.
I mean, I don't even think we were even talking about that kind of stuff. Parents were avoiding those conversations, and no.
You know what else I think is interesting though, and tell me what you think here. But I think that our rampant, unfettered, and bionically fast intake of technology certainly,
good. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it certainly paves a way to know more stuff. Now, doesn't
definitely,
right?
It definitely does. It definitely does. Like,
so you can basically know a lot of stuff now in a reasonably short amount of time.
Yeah.
And like you can dive down whatever micro rabbit hole you want to. And there's 1,000 PubMed articles already on that.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, this one article, like, it just started making the circuit now. The study was published in 20.
Right.
It's like that's you're 3 years late. The dude already published the book.
Right.
It's
so yeah. I mean, I know that's what we're going to talk about tonight, but just like kind of as a precursor to that, would you agree that technology? Look, you were at that event a couple years ago with the guy from Microsoft, that AI guy. Yeah. Right. So, that was what, 5 years ago, I think we were at. Yeah. So 5 years ago, this guy said, everyone 50% of the people in this room, whatever you do for a living, it won't exist.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes, that's going to happen in the next 10 years is what he said. Right. And we all kind of, look, it's that kind of crowd. We all kind of went into that meeting with that same kind of fact in our head. So while it is jaw dropping, it wasn't exactly revolutionary to the crowd. Like we were like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But then he starts going into like other things that didn't make as easy sense, right? You know, and he started talking about like you'll basically fit the entire internet inside of a form factor of your iPhone, and it will be blockchained, so everyone will have the same copy of the internet.
Yeah.
And if you're the dude who lies about it and everyone else's register says you're lying, you just basically get overwritten. Mm-hmm. There's no more canceling anybody. You just simply get overwritten. Your answer gets changed. Like, you know, and like good, bad, or indifferent, like that was 10 years off. Now, fast forward 5 years, right? Now, granted, we had COVID in there, which we can come back to this, but I think COVID might have actually been one of the greatest boons to human evolution in all of human evolution.
I would say there's something to that. Should we record and go?
Yeah. We're well recording, sir.
Oh, we're in this.
Oh, we're in this.
Oh shit! Yeah. Welcome to the show, Tom. Thanks for being
on. Would you like
tonight.
to? Yeah, we're glad you could join us.
We didn't do our normal. Hey man, how's it going?
No,
hey,
I know, because you were in the middle of coughing and it was. I
was having a coughing fit.
Yeah, it's fine.
We'll title this one the one where Tom coughs.
Yeah. But yeah, like, you know, if you think about it, 5 years ago, that 10 years seemed a long ways off.
Yeah.
And now we're halfway through there. And I would arguably say we're 75% closer to that.
Yeah.
Goal. And like, just think about it, this is like the end of January. Okay. Like, I don't know when we published this show, but like when this was happening was at the end of January.
Yeah.
In the last literally 30 days.
Yeah.
Like in the last 30 days, we've had ChatGPT become a thing. Like
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Fucking mind bending.
Yeah, like, man. Okay, I was at this business event and they were talking about like how AI, right? You know, AI is on everybody's forefront. And they asked somebody who works in web design, hey, you know, we know that AI is now making websites. And she's like, oh, it's not a thing I have to worry about yet. Yeah, it doesn't look native. It doesn't look programmed right. The code is junk. And I'm like, yeah, but you're talking like you have 20 more years.
No, yeah. You have 20,
no.
Yeah. You have 20 more months. You know? Yeah, you have 20 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly and truly, that is not completely bananas. And now here's where shit starts to get crazy. Right?
Yeah.
Now, you and I are sitting here. It's the end of January in 2023. And in the last 30 days, we have a technology that did not exist to the human collective.
Yeah.
30 days ago. And now, well, I don't even know if it was really a thing before like New Year's, like pre-New Year's, no one even heard the term ChatGPT.
Yeah, you know, and I think there was Dolly Mini and Dolly 2 and all that stuff.
Yeah, Dolly has been around for a minute, but but
that was art, you know, that was graphics.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, right. I mean, not to detract from its amazingness, but it's a toy comparative to ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty big thing. Now, okay, so here's the funny part. Every time you ever got really fucking high and had a conversation about like the future and blah, 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 basically we were all so far off from what's actually the future. It is fucking crazy.
It is. And we're not going to be able to stop it, you know?
No, forget about
that we want to, but you know.
Yeah, but hold on. In the same 30 days, Harvard comes out, and here's our article du jour, right?
Yeah.
Comes out with a fucking an article that says we could not only reverse aging, which like what, but we could steer aging in any direction forward or backwards that we wish.
It's
Mic
nuts.
drop.
It's
like right.
It's nuts, and you know that's the David Sinclair, the guy that wrote.
Which we definitely have man crushes on because
it's just so fucking bizarre. You know, it's like, you know, like, and it's not like clearly he didn't do all the research in this field, but like, it's funny he doesn't make supplement recommendations, but like, here's the list of stuff he takes on every article, every interview, and you're like,
but see, that's the genius about it, right? Like, he doesn't have to endorse anything. First of all, he makes plenty of money doing what he does for a living. He doesn't need the fucking hawk supplements. B, he doesn't want to he skirts all medical culpability by saying, look, I endorse absolutely nothing.
Well, he said he's a researcher. He's not an MD.
Right.
Yeah.
And he goes, but if you were asking me what I take, I weigh 185 pounds and this is what I take. Like, and so he gives you all of the information.
Yeah, it's so funny to me because like I've talked to you about like ordering some peptides and some injectable stuff online. And it's like, it's slapped with like not for human consumption for, for laboratory testing only. And it's like, oh, this comes in a nice little vial that you can easily, draw from a syringe from. And it's, third-party tested, and if you happen to weigh this much, here's the dose.
Yeah.
Right. Totally don't use it, but
yeah, but if you were, you might want to not
somebody
go above
your
this.
size probably would.
You might be like a 3 milligram kind of right. But yeah, I mean but so in the last 30 days, okay, let's just start piecing together this sandwich of crazy town. Okay.
Yeah.
I could, as of right now, pay nothing really.
Because they're still free. Yeah.
2,000 words written on aging and the aging process. And please do so in a tone relevant for a teenager. And then ask it again and say, and do so in a tone relevant to a 40-year-old PhD student. And like, okay. And now we can get, and so what does that mean? Well, that means it's a fun parlor trick right now, but imagine that this time next year, you and I could sit down and we can say, hey, Google, or Alexa or whatever you're screaming, aggregate the top 5 news articles in the following categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need them ordered by reach. I need links sent to my text message and blah, blah, and you just keep going and going and going. And then all of a sudden that stuff all happens.
It all happens. near instantly.
And then not only does it all happen, but then you turn around and you say, oh, hey, I like this article. Find me 5 more that are very similar like this that cover variants on this or whatever, like blah, blah, blah. I mean, it is literally, or like, hey, Alexa, I'm looking for every PubMed article that studies women 40 to 45 for anything. Let's just, you know what I mean? Like, let's find out. And then you just start, like, if you just have some weird idea, like, and this is the thing, man. I mean, I'm doing all this work on metacognition and stuff right now. Right. And like, one of the things that's interesting about this is that, like, if you look at insights and whatnot, like when people get great ideas, they get motivated. Like there is patternicity to that. And like, that's what I'm finding really interesting. But here's the thing, like you don't know when that inspiration is going to strike. Right. Yeah. And so it doesn't always fit into a box. So imagine you wake up in the middle of the night and you have some crazy idea and you want to literally write a paper on it. Fucking, you can do that now with ChatGPT, like literally.
You say one thing and then go back to sleep, and in the morning, all the info is there for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Now, imagine in the same exact day, you just go to your Alexa on the other side and you say, hey, Alexa, I'm feeling a little bit grayer today than I would like. Can you please send me back 30 years in the hair department? Right? Like, and it's like, and neither one of those stories are fantastical. They are like near plausible. Like they're, so it's like, I know we get excited and crazy about the health stuff, which I really want to dive into this article, but like, and the other article that I wanted to talk about tonight, was that bacteriophages and like they're starting to steer those things, right? So here's the funny,
about the AI massage
well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I showed you.
Yeah. Which is just crazy too. But like, so imagine though, all of these things are all happening at the same time. Yeah. And now I could literally tell, like, why couldn't I tell my Alexa, hey, I need this bacteriophage to like, treat my E. coli, right?
I think it's going to be even crazier, man. You're not even going to have to say thing. Wearables or implants are going to be monitoring that. And then it's like, here's your morning mix of pills.
Right. And it's got some jumbo bacteriophage
Yeah,
that's going to
yeah.
get rid of the, low
Whatever it
grade
is. Yeah.
fever you have. Yeah. But like, so let's start with that article though. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
totally.
that thing, so that book was pretty fucking nuts to begin with. We talked about it on the show ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But like, nothing about this article like phased me as wacky because like all of it was so completely predictable.
Yeah.
When it comes to knowing where that came from, right? Like, so David Sinclair, just to recap, is the head of the genetics lab at Harvard, and his lab is doing some crazy ass shit and has been for a long time. And if, just as another 4 millionth plug for that book, if anyone hasn't read Lifespan, it's a primer on holy fucking shit.
It's a great read.
Yeah, it's a great read. Now, here's what I liked about the book, just as a segue into this and a recap. Like, that book was philosophically very intriguing, as much as it was tactically.
Yeah, and he did have a whole chapter on I guess what you would say is the ethics of this endeavor, and his view was very very positive for it, I would say.
Well, what I find philosophically interesting about that book is that he presents it in the way he should have, which is morally agnostic, right? Like, curing aging isn't a moral question. It's a science question. And a science question is amoral. Like, like there's no morality, that was the wrong word, but like no morals whatsoever. Like, morals are not tied to this in any way, shape, or form. And that's really the way science should be viewed, in my opinion, right? Like, it should not have a judgment on it. Like, it should just simply be reporting.
I would agree with you there, but I do think there's social norms, and even right, they may not fit into like a real religious structure, but there is societal norms outside of that that's like, look, we don't do this, and I think his take on it, and it's been a couple of years since we read that book, or at least a year, but within that, I think his take was more of a like, look, I can stop all of these progressive diseases by dialing back that clock. So it wasn't even just about living longer. It's about reducing, the impact on society if it, the healthcare costs fall and that kind of thing,
But then they give you all those other like ingredients, right? And that's like, all right, well, if I can just keep not aging, then when do you die? And then the answer to that question is whenever you fucking want.
Yeah.
Like, and the answer to that, the response to that is generally fucking hostility or bewilderment.
Well, it's such a weird thing, man. And look, man, I'm not suicidal or depressed or anything, but like, there's been times where I'm like, shit, I've got longevity in my family. I'm not even halfway there yet, man.
Right.
Like, I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Like, when are you just tired? Like, I'm good. When somebody dies of an old age and they're like, they lived a healthy, good, long life. And that person's like, yeah, I'm, right before they tap out, they're like, no, it's good time. I mean, are you going to get that if you still look in Act 20 and then, not bringing ethics into this? Cause we were thinking about this. I was like, dudes, like 50-year-old creeps are like hitting on 18-year-old girls. Imagine if that 50-year-old man is now in a 20-year-old body. What?
Yeah.
Like, how?
Yeah, but so here's the thing. Like, so all these things, and this is kind of where I was going. This article brings us one step closer to the reality where I'm sorry, brings us one step closer to two realities. One, where we just have infinite control over the human condition, right?
Yeah.
We absolutely steer that ship. Two, we have now invented an entirely new class of ethics and morality.
No, yeah, 1,000%.
Those two things don't. Ethics and morality have to have a cleaving point at some point in history, where we stop saying like, this is what morals and values and everything used to be. From this day forth, we have decided that we are going to recraft the definition of all these things and recalibrate, because we are using like tools carved with rocks to measure nuclear physics at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, we are just, this is not a valid way to live a life. You cannot use values of 20 years ago to talk about ChatGPT or this fucking Harvard study, which, by the way, I don't even know if we said what it was about, but like the article was about, they found a way to basically steer the expression of age genomically, like it's not like chronological, but they can steer it forward or backwards. Like they figured out where that gas pedal was, and they can.
Now, you know what's funny to me, because when I first saw the photo, and you'll see two rats next to each other
with the gray,
and I was like, oh my God, is that the same rat? And then I'm like, I read the caption and I was like, no, they didn't actually make a rat look younger. I wish they did. This was the same litter, and then they genetically altered one to age faster. So the idea is that if they can do it in forward, they should be able to reverse that and bring it backward. And they do, like the article does describe some improvements in that thing. So we're not in the maybe giant moral dilemma that like, oh, we're playing God is yet, but
we're not, but
we're knocking on that door.
That which is going to be already is, like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, we already have done this. We're not quite there. We haven't, our calendar hasn't caught up, but this has already happened. Okay. So if you look at it through that lens, and here's the funny thing, the future's always been very hard to tell clearly, right? Like nobody's got a crystal ball. Myself, yourself, none of us. Here's the thing though. It's getting a lot easier to let your imagination kind of go wild, because we've got no boundaries anymore. Like it's, and every time we have an article like this that comes out, you're absolutely right. And I guess I don't want to warrant that it means like tomorrow we're going to go to CVS and fill like a 10 years younger drug. But here's the thing. 5 years from now, that is absolutely not an inconceivable outcome.
It's trending that way, and like the pace at which this research is going, and like things like AI entering that arena.
Yeah,
how crazy! So like how exponentially fast will it move if we take AI, teach it molecular biology? Here's state
already
of the art.
Happening. Yeah,
I mean, it's
so that bacteriophage article, because bring this all together, right? They are basically concerned that antibiotics have basically run their course. Like they're now, pun intended. They're just, there's no more, because we're running out, right? Like we're the staph infections, MRSA, like all these giant fucking pains in the ass to humans. They're getting immune to everything, right? Like, and so like you got a real problem on your hands, and it's gotten to I know the word pandemic is super loaded these days, but we've had a pandemic in that for decades. Like that's like, and so this article was very interesting. It actually said that they found out that their genome was like quite a bit more diverse than they thought. Yeah. And extensive. And basically they can program it. They're like, well, wait a minute. Well, if we can, why can't we train these viruses to basically go reproduce inside of the bacteria and just blow them up? I mean, here's the thing. It's not curing cancer right now, but now that we're there and you start layering all these cards on, AI, yes. Super fast computers, yes. Artificial, like things like ChatGPT with their input devices, obviously the learning behind it is one thing, but like crafting these things to put them together, this has taken several years for people to accumulate the knowledge requisite to build the things in the first place. Now that so when I look at this, I don't look at ChatGPT or DALL-E or any of these things as like, or this article from Sinclair or the bacteriophage, like none of these things. What I see is a global, we have now, the firing gun went off and we are out of the gate and we are running full speed down the track. With hindsight, 30 days ago, that was not the case.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, well, I you know, and like to your point about saying like, look, we've already done it, even though we haven't, you know, this technology, this is just the first to, like, I don't want to say to market because there was a free version, but it's just the first, like,
yeah, no,
end
we're
user,
like,
you
we're
know,
in the
experience.
primordial ooze of this.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even a thing yet. I mean, expressly, ChatGPT is a fucking beta program. Like, it's just like they're just letting it out to see what it's capable of. That's it. And they're learning a lot. And like, that's what I'm saying. Now that it's out there, like, they are collecting mountains of data. Now, imagine if you turn, to your earlier point, turn that attention towards curing cancer or whatever, or this aging thing. You don't think that some dude is throwing the results of these tests over to a fucking AI right now and having to see what spits out?
I don't think it would not happen, especially in a college environment. You know, when, like, you know, you're sitting around doing research in one side of this lab, and then on the other side, hey, look, we're the artificial intelligence group, and you know, you meet in the hallway, and it's like, hey, I'm working on this. Oh, you know, I got an idea.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing. And like, this is truly one of those times where like the geek shall inherit the earth kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, that kind of thinking is going to be, put it this way, AI, I was talking with somebody recently, and one of the things we came up with was AI is like a Hail Mary for human salvation, right?
We're putting a lot of eggs in the basket there. But yeah, I would agree with you.
think about the alternative, right? Like, if we keep just governing ourselves, we're clearly going to die. Like, I mean, like, that's just obvious. Like,
what are we, 90 seconds to doomsday? Is that?
Yeah, but that's what. But my point is like, we are on a path of assured destruction if we don't do something to change it. Now, I think humans are doing a lot to change it. So I'm definitely not trying to be doom and gloom here, but I'm saying like, all it's going to take is one backslide, and then we're back to like basically melting our faces and like killing ourselves, right? Like, but AI, however, provides an entirely new lens to look at problems. Right now, you're like, well, okay, so here's a study that we just finished on aging, and we had made one mouse age faster than the others, and we feel like we could do it backwards. But I don't know how to sequence for the backwards part of that. And can you give us what the sequence should be? And that AI could run every combination
possible, yeah,
and tell you every fucking outcome. And it might take a minute, but all you got to do is go get a latte. Like, while this shit is doing its thing.
It's doing its thing. You know, it's crazy, because that article and the thing that I think made me jump was I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw it on I Fucking Love Science, and I Fucking Love Science earned like what do they call it? What shit, now I'm forgetting. What do they call it when somebody's like, it's not spam, but they post something misleading to get clickbait.
Clickbait.
The Clickbait of the Year award. And of course, like, I Fucking Love Science had the photo with a caption that made it look like somebody made that rat young. Like, it's not, no, that's not two separate rats. No, they didn't artificially age one. You know, it's like, no, that you made it look like it's the same rat.
That's funny.
Bastards. Sorry, that was an aside. But
no, I mean,
I think that's what got me to go like, oh, what is this?
Yeah, I think this whole show is aside. So
it's pretty much is.
But
what a Google Alerts kickback.
Yeah, so I was sitting there talking with my parents actually about what was it? Not important, but whatever it was, we were talking and like their reaction was like, oh, it shouldn't be like that, or something, like, you know, like there was this weird qualifier word, and all of a sudden it like hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, there's no, and this is what I was just saying about the, you know, you got to like draw a line in the sand and say everything tomorrow is this other thing.
Yeah.
And let's just like let everything that was yesterday kind of stay yesterday. Right. And so when I was having this conversation, it made me realize I'm like, we're just not capable as a race to be able to change our thinking that fast.
That quickly. No, and the pace at which things are moving, and we were kind of talking about this a little bit, before the show, but like, our kids can't keep up with the technology. Like how sure. in an artificial intelligence powered world where everything's changing hourly, are you going to set a moral code, an ethical code that's going to last for any decent amount of time, right? I mean,
so I think that's where it gets interesting. Why does it have to last for any amount of time? Why can't the new thing be built in with malleability, right? Like, because like, think about it, like what we've learned, okay, is that 30 days is a fucking long time in 2000, right? Like, as it turns out, a lot can happen in 30 days. It's, in fact, almost an inconceivably large amount of things could happen in 30 days. Now, granted, these were all in progress for years and years and years. But still, here's the thing. What do we all find out about in February that we didn't know about that's on its way out? And I guarantee that it's the same or more than ChatGPT. And because that is now what happens in the world, that it is clear to me in the last 30 days that we have turned a corner. Either that or I'm totally wrong. It was just a crazy, weird month. And we just happened to take all of these oddly specific leaps in humanity, in the last
very quickly days. What's pretty funny, because I remember we were probably both at this meeting too, where somebody said, hey, look, they've got an AI that tells dad jokes.
By the way, I loved it. Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's great. And that was what, a year and a half ago. And now it's like, you want it to do this thing? It will do this thing for you. Well, what thing? You need code? Oh, here it is. You want research? Here it is. Oh, you want a user manual? Here it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's game changer. But what's interesting about this too is like, let me ask you this, and this made my head spin when I kind of peeled this back, but you and I know about this. Most of our friends also know about ChatGPT. Do you know who doesn't know about ChatGPT? Everybody else. Because my kids who are like all over the internet all day long, every day, my wife who's all over the internet all day, every day, never even heard of it before I said something to them. But why is that? It's not surprising. They're not in the game of creating content. They're not in the game of creating anything. They're consumers. Right. And guess how, the percentage of consumer to creator has got to be single digits to many. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're all like horny as fuck,
this is the
about ChatGPT and all this other stuff. But my kids couldn't give a flying fuck about ChatGPT. Now, when I showed my daughter Dolly, you know what she did? She went, "Oh my God." She did like 15 things under an account. And she's never looked at it again.
But maybe that's almost the mindset to adopt when in this kind of technology. It's like, I know tomorrow there's going to be something even better.
Well, that's the thing, right? So that's one of the things, right? That one of the things is like, we no longer have the capacity to give a flying dick about anything. Right? So Dolly was the culmination of probably decades of many people's lives.
Yeah.
Right. This is a fucking unbelievable technology that is, even from a guy who takes a number of like too many steps towards really diving in on all this crap. I will tell you 100%, the shit that is actually coming out is mind-bending. And it's just like, you can't possibly be locked in anymore. And so but here's the problem. Nobody cares. Nobody can appreciate. Very few people can appreciate. Many people love ChatGPT. I'll bet you, again, single-digit percentage of people who love ChatGPT know anything about the technology behind it.
No, there's no way.
give a rat's ass about any of the technology behind it.
Well, but like, I mean, like I gotta say, there's no way I'm cracking open my phone and going, that's this, that's this, that's this. I use my phone all the goddamn time. You know?
Yeah. Oh no.
So I think at the end, the user experience is what people care about. And once people start seeing, like the masses see what that AI can do, they're going to be all over it too. You're going to have to have anti-AI detection software when you're submitting.
So I thought about
stuff.
that today. Actually, I was like, is there going to be somebody who's going to write an AI program to sniff out AI content and kind of do like a rating on it? Like, no, we're canceling you. This was AI generated.
Well, yeah, but like maybe like it's not so, as long as it's factual, it's not so bad if like a news report uses it. But like, how is it going to affect school life? Why would I ever write a paper again?
But see, here's what I'm saying. Here's that before and after line. Right?
Yeah.
Like the before and after line, before you had to research a term paper and write a term paper. Okay.
Yeah.
After doesn't make sense to, first of all, there's so many ways we could break this down. And I don't know how far you want to go on this on like a health focused show, but like, but you could
a health focused show.
You could break down. Yeah. You can break down all of the problems with that, like all day long. Like, so it doesn't make sense to write a term paper in 2023 because people who are writing term papers are probably in high school.
Yeah.
And at the rate we're going, at no point in their professional career will they ever have to write anything.
Yeah.
So that kind of seems stupid to fucking teach. So let's just, maybe think about.
You're like, let's can it all together.
Well, no, what I'm saying is like, so many things require a before and after because of this, that it doesn't make sense to even make assumptions that anything could be left as it was. So in other words, to yesterday, literally, I'm telling you, fucking Christmas of 2022, like, I mean, this just happened. I would say that Matt was this one thing, right? He was inquisitive. He liked this, he liked that. He had some kids, he had a wife, blah, blah, blah. 30 days later, Matt is not the same Matt. And I'll tell you why, because I am sitting around looking at what just happened and going, none of these individual things are as amazing as what this means as a whole. And what it means as a whole is we've officially started the fucking race towards fucking awesome. Like, and so the gloves are officially off. The ring has officially been bust down. All fences in the land have been removed. There is nothing stopping us now. And that is probably going to be both amazing and tragic and everything all in the middle. But what we cannot imagine is what it's going to, we will literally drive ourselves fucking insane if we do not reinvent.
Our worst enemy right now. So if we
is us. Yeah. Right. But our worst enemy is us because we're comparing us with us of 30 days ago.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right now. Like, you can't say you should do, if the word should came out of your mouth, you should just stop and be like, my bad. There's really no reason to use such foul language in pleasant company. You should do absolutely squat all, because what we have to figure out, and I don't know the answer to this. I'm not saying I've got some answer. What I'm saying is, like, we need to think about this, like, seriously and right now, because what's going to happen so they took the paid thing off for ChatGPT. But what happens when they figure this out and they come back with paid versions? What's the price you would pay to say, hey, Chat, I'm looking to find the mathematical sum of the SEO value of every article on the, short-billed tortoise, right? And I want articles written, 50 of them to be precise, that all bolster individual keywords for that particular topic without getting into the gory details. For a regular SEO shop to do that, months, tens of thousands of dollars. Like, like no, I'd be willing to bet ChatGPT takes a year or two to kind of get its shit together and kind of work out the kinks.
Yeah.
They're doing that in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
For
if that.
$50 a month subscription.
Yeah. And it's also going to make a lot of the SEO that you're talking about right there obsolete, because chat will know what the best content is and the most relevant content for you, and hell, it'll probably get to learn your preferences.
Well, and then the other question there is like, what else changes, right? Like, so if you're right, if everybody's using an AI to write SEO content, then everyone's always outdoing each other. So now we're very shortly back to the same place we are right now.
Yeah.
Like, right. So now there's have to be a new thing invented. But like, that's the cat and mouse game of everybody. That's just capitalism right there.
Yeah.
Like that'll keep happening. But so let's go back to the aging article, right? And say, okay, what happens if you look at that aging article through 31 days ago ethics? And then you extend that study to what you and I both can probably sit here and in about 3 jumps of a chess game could come up with a reason why we're all living forever in the next 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's not crazy, right? So if you were going to assume that scenario where this is basically Pandora's box, floodgate, whatever metaphor you want to use, that cannot be examined under the lens of 31-day-old morality, because it will fail miserably. Like there's no, I don't know. Am I crazy? Am I,
so I think if we look at it culturally, you're like, if you see any moral change, it's over time, right? So,
but that's what's not happening anymore.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I don't, like, you mentioned it before. I don't think people are going to be able to keep up. Like, I think that's going to be another area where we fall short. It's not the technology doing it. It's like, literally, we can't keep up with the speed at which technology is progressing. And at some point, we're going to sound like that typical old person that's frustrated with technology. And it could be, a kid doing it, because it's not the way it was yesterday.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. But I guess my point though is that time has to fracture as well when it comes to this, because now even our understanding of time is no longer relevant, right? Because like 6 months ago, 30 days doesn't seem like a big deal. 6 months later, 30 days changed fucking human history.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that happened. So I guess my point is like, what is the end of what you have to think about differently now than you did 31 days ago? Right.
I don't even know if you can, like, I almost feel like you're rolling with the punches there. I don't think.
Well, no. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I'm not disagreeing that. It's yes and yes, 100%. What I'm saying though is like, you and I are like this big, the world is that big, and like most of the people are going to be like, WTF, mate? Like, I can't. I can't. And so I guess rolling back, the another thing that could just happen. Hold on, I'm putting on my tinfoil hat now. I guess is like that separation of classes starts to get real steep, like, because now you're going to have people who are going to be like, oh, look, I could make a ton of money right now because like we just invented like 8 new industries. Like, so, like I could get super wealthy right now. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to do that. And technology, I mean, let's face it, isn't super hard to get rich with. You know what I mean? Like, isn't, if you keep digging long enough, you'll hit a technology that'll strike you a one-hit wonder, and a one-hit wonder in technology is hundreds of millions of dollars.
And who would care after that?
Well, and exactly. And who would care after that? Right. Like, you're like, nope, mic drop.
I don't need to fight. I don't let something take it over after this. I'm out.
No, I love these people that are like, they run like $100 billion companies, and somebody gets into a pissing match with them and they're like getting all passionate. I'm like, you're worth $92 billion.
Why are you even in a conversation?
Like, I would actually consider it an immense personal failure to have done something in my life to accrue $1 billion, let's say. You know what? Fuck it. I don't even need to go crazy. If I accrued $10 million for something, I'm pretty sure every other something that I ever do again is going to be only things that I really fucking like to do, and like literally nothing I don't. You know, because I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't.
I don't need any of that. Yeah, I'm good.
I don't need any of whatever you're peddling, Mister. Yeah, but here's so back to the article though. Like, I think that we need to look at this article as sort of a bugle call. It's all going to start happening now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that the bacteriophage thing in and of itself, quite candidly, isn't like a super interesting thing.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact that it also happened in the same 30-day period and essentially could render antibiotics completely useless. And to your earlier point, maybe you got a little fucking wearable under subcutaneous implant that's just basically saying, I see a blossoming UTI.
Temperature of the player area.
Yeah, I see a blossoming UTI, a little bit of an upper respiratory thing. You're a little hormonal.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden you're like, and here's your pills for the day. And it spits out like 6 fucking, you know, gel tabs. And it's basically like, it just takes care of you for the day. And then here's the thing. Let's talk about that. That industry now exists. Now there's free market. You've got several $1 billion day of vitamin companies. Then you've got manufacturing for home pill presses and like all the, you know, like you're creating thousands and thousands of jobs.
I think it's going to be even crazier than that. Like at some point you're going to have, oh, you have this. Not only that, the prescription is there. Right, you know, like you're not seeing a doctor. Those are
yeah, sure.
You know,
and quite honestly, like prescribing medicine is definitely like if I had to guess, the least likely person to get it right 100% of the time would be a human.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, like, or just FYI, we could feed in every medical record that has ever existed,
and every study about every drug, you know, and it's so crazy when you start to think of it like that. Because look, you know, there's this thing that happens in medicine where they might have studies that they know something they're doing is wrong, but the culture and the hospital and the protocols don't update at the speed. Like that doesn't happen so much if somebody like invents like a new, you know, medical device or something, but like all the other stuff, like we're working with some old outdated, especially in the realm of nutrition. But you know, like, look, you might be able to, and it may not need to be a bacteriophage that then blows up, you know, an infection. Some of those older antibiotics, we're starting to see that bacteria don't have these chains that are as long, right? So if that's the case, they're now the penicillin that didn't kill them 20 years ago. That generation has never seen penicillin, and that wipes it out. But you might have a machine that is making that prediction. Sure. It's like, we're going to give you this antibiotic because this is what you have, or this is what we believe is going on.
And I've actually felt like the last 30 days have been very liberating for me mentally, because I now don't have to worry about, I mean, what if is only a precursor to every sentence I ever say from now on, basically. Yeah. Because I'm like, there's no limit. There's literally no limit. Whatever crazy shit you could think of, you can fucking find a way to get it done. Like, you know what I mean? So like,
you could ask Chat AI how to do it.
Yeah. So stop fucking bitching and belly aching about if you don't have something. Like, we got the tools, dude. We could make this shit happen like right now. Like, you can just, let's start making some code, shall we? Like, you know, it's bananas. But so I don't know. Like, I mean, we've been talking about morality and such a lot, but like, here's the thing, man. In the foreseeable future, and I'm more and more convinced this is like in our lifetime situations, and I'm like, every second that I get older, I'm I'm more and more on board with this, but like, what happens if you and I are like 70 and all of a sudden you could literally get a fucking little dial in your hand that you're like, and bringing it backwards. Yeah. Or an iPhone app. It'll be definitely be an iPhone app, like just be like, and then to your point, look, if somebody sticks with it long enough, eventually they're back to 20-year-old, like, so what, but you're not, you're a fucking convicted serial killer pedophile, like who's, out because, like, I don't know.
For now, it'll make a good sci-fi movie.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Well, I mean, and it's even funny, like you want to talk about the speed of this. The guy who published this study, the lab who studied this was Sinclair, right?
Yeah.
That book came out like 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something. Not even like that book is not fucking old. And in that book, none of what just came out
is the full story anymore.
Was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he alluded to a lot of this stuff, like, but now this is like, no, we did it. Like we got it. It's working. Like we're good. And that's just happened in the last low single digit amount of years since that book has been around.
Well under 5 years. It's so crazy, man. And yeah, like you watch AI get into that field and it's going to be scary, but like, I don't want to say scary in a fearful way. The stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's cool that we can be like, okay, so now we've got this like, antibiotic replacement thing. Let's see where we get with cancer, shall we? Like, let's see what happens over there. Like, because like the answer to cancer, if I had to guess, and just, you think when things just feel right versus wrong, right? Like, I think the cure to cancer is ultimately going to end up having been something that's hyper tailored to your genomic structure.
It has to be. It has to be hyper genomic structure to the tissue that's well, the cancerous.
Tissue that's cancerous, but the genomic makeup of the cancer itself. Like, I mean, it's going to take a supercomputer or an AI to fucking synthesize all that and say, oh, look, I know you've been trying this thing over here, and I know you guys are confused that it works sometimes and not others, but we found out it's like if you turn this switch on, it does this. And if you turn this switch on, it does that. And we just thought you'd probably want to know that. and all it takes is something like that, but you can't get there without that data, right? So like, I don't know. It's like, I have mixed emotions about it because like, I think science should absolutely be like agnostic, right? Like it shouldn't be like a judgment thing, but like to your earlier point, there's no fucking way society is ready to deal with aristocrat society, like strata of society,
1,000-year-old, 20-year-olds
who are 1,000-year-old, 1,000 years old,
and
but
have
actually
all the money.
Yeah, and have all the money. And that's
wait, hold on. That's Hunger Games. Fuck.
It's Hunger Games, but like, what do you think? We just made that shit up? No, that stuff was like
lying dormant in our consciousness.
Expressed
through art.
Right. It's just sitting there because that again, what will happen already has. So we were just hundreds and hundreds of years ahead of schedule. Yeah, it just, I don't know. It I think it's so awesome that we're doing this. It's crazy to me that we like. What we talk about this week could be completely irrelevant and twice as amazing next week.
Absolutely.
And like, that's what, I used to love that during COVID. It was like my fun game is like, name the conservative that's going to make fun of Fauci. you know what I mean? Like, and I was like sitting there going, look, for better or for worse, I'm not saying he was a saint, but the guy is in research. Yeah. And research changes every 5 minutes. And normally that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But when the entire planet needs you to like, you're like the only person who's like a recognized expert in this, like they want you to fucking talk. And where I think he went wrong from a marketer is he should have been like, today, this is our understanding.
Yeah.
It's likely not going to be that tomorrow. I'm just going to let you know.
But, even if he did, I got to say, in this hyper polarized environment, it wouldn't have mattered because, like, what people say and do apparently doesn't affect whether or not we elect them or whether or not, like, no, that didn't happen. Literally, there's a video No.
But I just sit there going, I'm like, Fauci says something one day and he'll contradict himself the next. And like people yelled at science for years for this. They're like, oh, coffee's good for you today. And now it's bad for you. I'm like, why can't they make up their mind? I'm like, well, because information guides the recommendation, and it's nobody's mind that needs to be changed. Like this isn't a change, it's an evolution. Like, as you know,
as
like
more data is coming in, the whole concept is being understood differently, so you change.
So you gotta like kind of adapt. And I you know, like I just don't, the world is not ready to be told it could live to 1,000.
Well, you know, and that's the case in point, right? Like I can't believe the man who's saying the thing because somebody else said something that got me emotional about it. You know, or like I'm angry at him because he's this guy, you know, he's saying I can't do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, look, man, you're just putting everybody else at risk. No, I'm not, you know, and like, if they can't handle that, if let's pull out another sci-fi movie. What was that one where Jodie Foster goes into space, right? They build this space thing and
the big portal thing that goes back 18 minutes or something.
And that's, you know, remember there was like that zealot that blew up the original version of that spaceship. I just destroyed a movie. I told that so poorly.
Oh God, what was that movie?
Contact. Yeah. It was called Contact.
Yeah.
But you know, and remember, like they made a backup one. The government made a backup one, but like there were people that were really, you know, like, yeah, let's go meet the aliens. And then there was a large group of people that were like, oh, we got to stop this because it's against God. And I'm like, those are the ones that I'm like, you guys don't handle new information well at all.
And what I think we got into the God thing a little bit on this show, I think, but like,
yeah,
but even God is one of those things, right? Like it's like the more we learn, the more you know that there is for sure an energy that transcends this existence, right? Like there's a bazillion examples of this. It's and like that thing you can call it Baba Ganoush, doesn't fucking matter. Like it doesn't, you know, like it doesn't.
I think my issue with that is like when we're talking about like framing something under that ethical reference or that moral code, and I'm going to call that loosely because there's such hypocrisies in that. But how can you get somebody that's like, no, this is what God says, ever to go like, no, this is okay. This is new information, right? You know, that's going to be, I think, the biggest backlash where you're going to have... Well, that doesn't happen.
I mean, that person that you're describing is never going to come to that revelation. What's going to happen is that the overwhelming surroundings of those people are going to tell that person that that's not it.
I wish I was that optimistic. I just know how people who are stuck in their ways are. I remember seeing something saying like, hey, you know, it was like, it was something on Reddit. So of course it was funny. You know,
and totally real.
Yeah. You know, well, no, I mean, it was, you know, an exchange, and whether or not it was planned, it was kind of funny where it's like, you know, some guy goes, I genuinely believe that if people are, confronted with oppositional data, you know, against their current belief system, they'll make a change.
Nope.
The guy under it goes, here's 2 links to studies that show that's not the case. And then the guy commented, well, this is just my belief then. And it's like, you know, you can't even do it. you know,
wow. But here's the thing, though. Like,
I read those studies, and here's what's wrong with them. This is what I feel.
But here's the thing, though. That's only able to happen because we can't evolve fast enough. But what's going to happen, I think, is that a certain portion of people are going to evolve fast enough.
Yeah, maybe.
And those people are going to capitalize in a major fucking way on this. Like,
absolutely. I also think this is the genie out of the bottle case. Like, you're not going to be able to stop it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like if look, you can't insurrect the internet, right? You know, like you're not gonna storm the castle here. There's nothing to storm.
There's nothing. Yeah, no.
Like,
No,
even,
you're
even
absolutely
if you're
right.
like the creator of this, we're gonna murder him. Man, doesn't matter. It exists.
Irrelevant. It's already
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. And that, yeah. And so I think what we're going to see is naturally speaking, there's going to be, and I'm not going to lie to you, if they offered up human test subjects for the aging thing,
Yeah.
my hat's in the ring, brother.
See, I'm on the fence, man.
Not because I care about getting younger, but I really am fucking interested in how cool this science is. This shit is bonkers.
I want to reincarnate and come back after that first generation that went through it and be like, "You guys still around? You okay?"
Yeah.
Did they get it right?
Yeah. I mean,
you know,
but you know what? And this is where I say, like, we stand at a dangerous corner here because, if you bet on that horse and you win, where you end on the other side is so stratospherically past your contemporaries, nothing else matters.
You'll be the space monkey. You will be the space monkey. I don't know if I'm. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Like, again, these studies aren't going to go off unless their AIs have proven out beyond a reasonable doubt that things are going to work. And that's the other thing. We're applying fear and logic around an antiquated thought process. If an AI is deployed to vet out possible side effects and everything, like, and run all those numbers, they can do that infinitely more accurate and infinitely faster than an army of doctors that were put on a study.
I just don't know if you don't have the data. Like, if the data doesn't exist to feed the AI. Yes, it'll be
look
better
at the COVID vaccine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at the COVID vaccine. Like, that came out because it was AI driven, and like that was using very limited data because we were still collecting.
We've been through it. Yeah.
Right.
All right. I'll
No, but that's my point. I'm just saying, like, we need to, like, and I'm kind of holding your feet to a fire a little bit intentionally to kind of illustrate the point here. We can't think of anything the same way we did. Like, and the second you feel yourself pulled back and thinking like we used to, you got to slap yourself in the dick and be like, stop it.
I think it's more of like, and I don't even have an ethical objection to it. And if you get over that fear of like, oh God, what happens if it doesn't work? Assuming everything goes well, I don't know if I want to live that long. I mean,
hey, listen, I'm not saying I do. I'm not saying I don't. All I am saying, though, is it's a thing, and we should just talk about it as a thing, right?
I get that, and
not you and I'm saying like the global thing. Like,
no. I understood that. I just, I don't think I'm still concerned that society as a whole on the planet cannot handle that. You know, I mean, I think that's going to change. Remarks. No, I think
that's going to change, right? Yeah, and that's my closing remark too. Is that I think it's going to change. I think it's already changing, but it's going to be was it Gladwell? It was like the future's here. It's just not evenly
distributed. Yeah,
I think that comment is going to get epically more apropos. Yeah, like, I mean, that thing's going to go through the roof. I mean, this is definitely a crazy ass change. Anyway, so funny enough, my answer to what you've been up to lately has been fucking crazy AI research. Like, so
that sounds relevant, man. That sounds relevant.
Well, truthfully, it had nothing to do with tonight's show until it did, but in general,
just like playing with it,
it's just so crazy where we're at with this. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I mean, beating the dead horse, but I mean, it's been like a month. Like, I mean, it's like this, like the month of January was fucking mind bending.
Yeah. I gotta say, you're going to send me on a bender. Like, we're going to log off and I'm going to be like, can you pull out all the obscure references to this?
I found an AI that makes websites. I found an AI that makes logos. I found an AI that makes paintings. I found an AI that writes tones.
Yeah.
Brother, there's no fucking boundaries anymore. Like the fucking pasture is wide open, brah. Go for it. Whatever you fucking want. Who was it? My kids were asking me like, well, what can you do with it? I'm like, yes. Yeah, you could do all of it.
Everything.
You could do anything. And then, my daughter and I, she's like the artist in the family. She was like, what did we do? Like a panda. I want a painting of a panda on a tightrope juggling kittens.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was like, and off it went. And I was like, this is the single coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm going to start playing with it. I'm going to see. I'm sure everyone is trying to test the limits of it. But
we have a ski locker with the combination YCL.
Yeah.
And so I said yellow cow light. That's how my kids will remember the combination, right? And so my daughter and I at the same time both did dollies where we're like yellow cow light painting of, like go for it.
That's cool.
And it's funny, I'll never literally for the rest of my life forget that combination now because I have like 38 pictures that Dolly made for me of yellow cow lights. But like that is such a stupid, benign example of what we talked about on the show. Like that, like wasn't humanly possible in the very not so distant past. And so my brain has really gotten super focused on like, what does that mean for the next 5 years? And I think that actually might have to go down to next year in the not so distant future, because I think we're going to see you need to have lifetimes that exist within a 30-day cycle. Like I think that's kind of where it's at. Right.
Yeah.
And
that is going to be a speeding train of evolution coming at us.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, what have you been getting into?
Oh man, I'm all in. I got to say, I'm still trying to wrap my cupping book up. And this
nice.
weekend,
You should use this thing I just learned about, ChatGPT. Can you write me a book on cupping?
Can you fix all this shit that's in this book if I give you the content?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean that's the kicker.
Tom,
right?
you have 619 incorrectly attributed.
Grammarly's kicking my ass already.
Yeah.
Last thing I need is AI doing it.
Yeah, well, you don't need Grammarly if you got AI, right? Like, I mean, that's
they better write it correctly.
Sure.
And cupping's 4,000 years old. I think ChatGPT says something like, "Hey, you might be inaccurate after 2021" or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think we got this. How far back can you go?
How far back can you go? And the answer is probably all the way back. Like, I don't even know.
Somebody wrote it down somewhere.
The boundaries are just not there. There is none, right? Like, so, and actually, I don't know if you looked into that at all, but you could actually part of your subscription with them is you can start training your own AIs with their infrastructure. So like you can start, and they charge you for it, but they charge you the same rate as using it. So it's actually...
It's interesting either way,
yeah. So it's basically like you're paying to just use the data, whether you're giving it to it or taking it from it. Now, I think that the catch is that your data becomes common data, but that might not be accurate. I don't know that if I read that right. I'm still kind of like trying to sort through.
We'll play with it.
Yeah, no, it seems kind of fun, but all right, cupping book. Anything else? What do you got? What else you got?
No, man. I gotta. It's the clinic's been so busy, man. When you're like, I love all the work. I'm not gonna turn it down, but like, could be a little calmer.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man. That's exciting.
Yeah, we'll see.
Sure.
I'll get burnt out. All right, man.
All right, cool, man.
Done.
All right.
Talk
Have
to
a
you soon.
good one. We'll talk to you.
All right. Take it easy.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.